Hotel reviews, are they reliable? Are they useful? And how much should we really be using them to influence our decision to book a particular hotel or to go to a particular restaurant? Today, I want to do three things. Firstly, I want to unpack that. Secondly, I'm going to review an article that I found that has listed the 12 most hilarious negative reviews that were left online. And then thirdly, I'm going to weigh in and unpack the responses that were given by these hotel operators or restaurants where these customers left these reviews. Now, whether you own or manage or operate a hotel, you know very well that customer reviews play a big role in how your business is perceived. So now this is your brand that we're talking about. And the brand part of it is largely to do with the reviews that you've got out there. What do they say about you as a brand? I think it's quite important to appreciate the power of reviews because clearly they are influential. They are influential to people and people's buying decision. According to research, 70.9% of travelers say online content influences their choice of hotel where they stay. 81% of people frequently or always read reviews before booking a hotel. I'm one of those people. This is according to TripAdvisor. TripAdvisor is a trusted source of traveler information and trends. 52% of individuals would never book a hotel that has 0 reviews. That makes sense. If there is nothing to go by, then you're a little bit suspect, so you move on. 55% of travelers read several pages worth of reviews to get a better sense of public opinion. Okay, I don't know what is several. I personally don't do this and I won't do this. I think there's a certain point in time where you just get a sense of what the place is about. You don't need to read several pages, especially if you're comparing between hotels. I can imagine this is a bit exhausting. You know, a former hotelier, unfortunately, he's late, used to say, and I'll never forget it, you walk into a hotel and there's certain few things that you look at that tell you if this is a 100-watt hotel or a 40-watt hotel. And that just stuck with me. It's one of the most brilliant things I've ever heard. So you never really need to go through several pages. You just check for a few things that tell you if this is a 100-watt hotel, a good hotel, or a 40-watt hotel. It's going a little bit dim and things are not going the way they should. More stats say that travelers plan to spend more time reading reviews about destination, and the percentage here is 66%. 66% of travelers plan to actually read reviews about their destination. This is also according to TripAdvisor. 65% of people gain their travel inspiration from online searches. This is according to Google. And 72% of travelers frequently or always read reviews before deciding where to stay or what to do. Okay, I'm also one of those people. This is also according to TripAdvisor. But how reliable are they, these online reviews, these restaurant reviews, these hotel reviews? Let's put a few reviews to the test. I'm going to go through the review itself and I'm going to go through the responses as well. You feel free to go along and just also have your own thoughts about the review and the perception that it gave a person who was looking online trying to make a decision. The first batch of reviews were posted on TripAdvisor, and at the top we have one from Ron X4715NF, which is a pseudonym, so everybody's identity is protected. He left a 2-star review because he asked to remain parked at the hotel parking lot for a few hours after checking out, and he was told no, and then also asked to take a few items from the breakfast buffet to go and was also told no. Management responded, "Thank you for sharing your review. Unfortunately, when you requested to use our parking lot, it was not at your checkout. Rather, you informed us that you had been a guest of the hotel a few days ago and wanted to go to the plaza but did not want to pay for the parking at the mall. Far too familiar. This I've experienced quite a few times in my career, and it is the situation where stories don't clop. Reality, what actually happened versus what was posted on TripAdvisor or any social is not what happened. And what the hotel has done very well here is indicated to anybody who is looking, they communicating to the person who's looking, trying to make a decision to stay at their hotel, to say, don't worry about this. This is actually what transpired. They've done it in a very tasteful manner, perhaps a little bit too detailed for my liking. What I prefer to do in this type of instances is just give an indication that an engagement took place between the two parties, the customer and the hotel, and that the matter was addressed, and not really get into the detail. But there's nothing wrong with what this hotel has done. It is their choice to communicate a little bit of detail so the person can piece the pieces together as far as the posted review and what the claim is versus what actually transpired. They further say, since you are no longer a guest a few days ago, we cannot allow you to use our limited parking space with our current guest needing it. I'm sorry if that experience outside your stay has affected the good service you mentioned you enjoyed. So when he stayed, he probably said to them, I had a lovely stay, I enjoyed it. And they're acknowledging it here, they're communicating it rather to the person who's reading this. We hope you will be able to visit us again and make use of all our facilities. So what they're doing here is they're saying, you can use all the facilities you want, buddy, when you are staying at the hotel, and we look forward to welcoming you back. Okay, a good review, quite happy with it. It is classy. It gives the viewer or the reviewer an opportunity to see what really happened, and any sensible person will know what went down here. Ron X for whatever didn't really get his way, and he was Burovos lips. He went on to TripAdvisor and he told a different story. This is just my assessment based on what I'm reading here and based on 2 decades of experience in the hotel business. I could be wrong. I wasn't there. I'm not Ron. I'm not this manager. I'm not in this hotel. But just based on experience, this is most likely what happened. The next review is from 933 Yushan, who left a 2-star review because there was a leak and no hot water in his room. Firstly, I sympathize with Yushan. If I'm a paying customer in a hotel and there's a leak, it can be quite frustrating. However, management did respond and they thank him for taking the time to share the review, of course. And the person here is saying, I am sorry that your room had a leak during the raging storm that we had. What? Violation, as my kids would say. So now this is a hotel having a bit of a jab at Yushan. It wasn't just a leak. We had a raging storm, and people need to know before they run away thinking we don't do any maintenance in the hotel. It's a brave but subtle way of communicating to the onlooker, the reviewer, by the hotel that, listen, this is actually what transpired. Just in case you go away thinking, well, there's a problem in this hotel. We had a raging storm. They continue to say, in that type of situation, we definitely would change the room in order to offer you a better experience. However, we don't have any information of you requesting a change of room or informing the situation regarding the hot water. We really encourage our guests to inform the front desk in order to assist them properly. We hope that you can give us an opportunity to welcome you back again and to offer you a better stay. They are open to him coming back. They would like for him to come back. They also trying to say it was quite unfortunate what happened. Even though they don't say it, maybe they should have said it. I probably would have said it. It's regrettable. It was unfortunate. Instead of just saying raging storm, that could just leave the person with the impression that you're saying, listen, it is force majeure. So sorry, buddy, take it as it is. It would have gone a long way if they just said it was unfortunate, it's regrettable, we regret what happened. They don't really say that. They're just telling him and reminding him that it wasn't just a leak because we don't do anything. It was a storm out of our control, so you shouldn't be that upset. So, I don't know. If we were to work on a 1 to 10 scale, 1 being poor in terms of response and 10 being excellent, this will probably get about a 7.5 or 8. It's not a bad response, but I would have added 1 or 2 more lines. A review from Hector831, who left a 1-star review for the hotel staff who were unhelpful, unorganized, and not professional. He also accused the hotel of not being gay friendly. Oh, this is not a good one. Not a good one at all. The hotel, however, did respond. Thank you for taking the time to share your valuable review. I am sorry that you didn't enjoy your short stay with us, as your record informs. Oh, every time you see this, you must know they were ready for you. They knew you were going to go on TripAdvisor or whatever online platform. As your record informs says that we were waiting for you to come at us. You did not appreciate the fact that our restaurant has a dress code. Gentlemen must wear a sleeve shirt. I'm sorry if you perceive this as a personal attack. I am also aware that we gifted you with an NYX sleeve shirt in order to avoid any inconvenience with the restaurant, as you state that you had no other shirt than sleeveless. Okay, so just before I carry on with the rest of it, what's happening here is the hotel has a dress code, and he acknowledged it and further said, well, I could sort it out if only I had the right attire. Then they said, okay, don't worry, we will give you a shirt, which is a sign of a good hotel. 100-watt hotel, if you ask me. They're ready for these things to happen. They're not just dismissive. They come up with a plan. He then says on his review that they are not gay friendly. Okay, so let's try and find out or try to see where that's coming from by reading the rest of this thing. We can assure you that our hotels do not make any type of discrimination or difference regarding your personal preference. As a matter of fact, we have many groups, events, and weddings of all genders, ethnicities, and nationalities. Therefore, your complaint is misplaced. Woo! Saucy, saucy, saucy. We will always be glad to welcome you again in order to pamper you. Interesting choice of words there. So, this sounds once again from experience that the hotel dealt with the situation, tried to assist, but they already made him feel a certain way. It was left up to perceptions, and he was not happy. I personally wouldn't have gone to the extent of saying, as a matter of fact, we have many groups, events, and weddings of all genders. That's not something that I would have explained in that detail. It's almost like this whole black and white racial conflict that we all know of if you've been living on planet Earth, where you will have a white person being accused of being racist towards a brown, black person. Instead of responding, most of my friends are black. You know, you've heard that before. You know that one. I just think it's dangerous, and I personally would not get into that level of defense. What would have been sufficient defense in this case, as far as this complaint is concerned, and where the hotel should have nipped it in the bud, is stating, which they did, that, listen, you had a shirt that didn't comply with our dress code. We tried to assist you. You either didn't take the shirt or didn't want to wear the shirt, but our rules are our rules. There's an ethos, there's a decorum that we are trying to be about as a restaurant or a hotel, and you didn't want to be part of that. You didn't appreciate that. It's possible that it didn't dine at that restaurant or stay. I'm not too sure. But just from my view, it is a somewhat decent response from an action point of view, trying to give the viewer that this claim, staff were unhelpful. No, in fact, they were. They offered a shirt. They were unorganized. I'm not too sure how they were unorganized, maybe relative to other things that transpired other than the whole dress code story. And they were not professional. And the hotel was not gay friendly. That's up to the person to unpack in terms of how he came to that assessment. Definitely not anything I'm going to dabble into. I'm just, from a review perspective, think it should have been kept at, this is how we try to assist. You either accepted or you didn't accept. Our dress code is this. We regret this, and end it there to talk about facts that they partake in this and partake in that, and they've hosted all genders was unnecessary. So this would get about a 7 for me. And the 7 will be on the basis that they were not gay friendly, because if they were, they would get a 0. It's not cool to discriminate against anybody for any reason whatsoever. The next review is from Caroline I13, who left a 1-star review because she was robbed of a small amount of money in her backpack, and then the staff were unhelpful and not empathetic to her situation. Not good at all. Management did respond. Thank you for taking the time to share your valuable review. I am truly sorry that you were not able to fully enjoy your stay with us. The first time that you reported the situation to the front desk, our receptionist explained to you the process when something is lost. They further say here that after that, a security agent is in charge of taking the report, looking into the system to see who entered the room, check the room, and if you allow it, to make a thorough search of the room and your belongings, either to verify that the object of money is not there or to find it, as it is often found amongst belongings. Our receptionist had to translate everything to the security agent. I am sorry if you find her services as rude. Regarding the security report, our security supervisor accompanied you to your room to check your room badge and to do a search in your room. However, right there, you decided that you would not let him in to do the after check, as he explained to you again about the process, refusing his services. It's a bit of a break in English here, so I'm trying to sort of piece it together. By interrupting and rejecting this investigation, we cannot allow or cannot assist you further than that. Okay, from where we are, they've got a process, they explained, it seems like the customer went along at some point, refused. It was also explained to you that you should make use of the safe box to store the important items or money, otherwise the hotel cannot be held responsible. So I'm hoping that they are reiterating that they told the customer, Caroline, when she arrived, because to tell a person right there about using the safe is not really the best of ideas, as much as we know that all customers should use the safe. At the end, you were told to see a manager the next day. You were told to see the manager. Jeez, sounding a bit strict there. The room badge shows us that no staff entered the room because you left the do not disturb sign. Okay, there's processes in place in hotels where these things can be verified, that nobody actually entered the room, and they record when a customer's got a do not disturb sign. So it's looking good for the hotel here. Then you conjured that someone may enter through the window. Whoa. Okay, I need to look up what conjured means in the dictionary because it's not sounding good in this paragraph. Security did check on the outside area of your room. However, there was no evidence to show that anyone tried to enter through the window, and most likely it's not possible without leaving traces or footprints. Jeez, it's a real investigation here. Your case was dismissed for the lack of evidence and because you refused the entire security process. However, you were offered the necessary reports so that if you wished, you could file a report with the police. Nevertheless, the manager did change your room and give you a free upgrade in order to make you feel safer, even though there was no evidence. We regret the situation, however, we'll always keep our arms open to welcome you back and pamper you. Okay, so let's try and unpack this one. Looks a little bit messy off the bat. It's long. I think there's some language barriers as well here. So I don't want to assume that the tone is a bit out of line. I just don't know about telling the customers that they conjured up things. I also am not sure about dismissing a case, especially on a public forum like TripAdvisor telling everybody that cares to read this that you dismissed cases. I think there's a bit of a succinct way of doing this, and that usually is along the lines of this matter was dealt with internally. As you recall, you spoke to the security manager, the general manager, or whoever. This detail is really unnecessary, and it's sort of exposed the hotel a little bit. It does give a person who's reading enough information to make their assessment as to the person's claim about the small amount of money that they were robbed of. I mean, I guess the person writing also on TripAdvisor saying they were robbed deserves a response from the hotel. I get that. But personally, this could be a bit more succinct. It could be half the response. It just could be a little bit more tasteful. So this will get a 6.5 as a response for me. To Bethany G, who left a 1-star review with her review that the workers are thieves, in which she accused the staff of stealing. Management responded saying, "Thank you for taking the time to share your valuable feedback with us. We have taken all your feedback on board, and this will be used constructively to perfect our future guest experience. We would like to comment that at no time were your belongings stolen when you reported it. Our staff found your belongings in the suitcase in front of you." Okay, this makes no sense already. So then why are you taking constructive feedback on board to perfect future guest experiences? It makes no sense because the claim is simple. The workers are thieves. You are saying the belongings were found. So I just don't get the first part of the response where you're going to constructively take things on board to perfect experiences. The hotel carries on to say, "And after a day, you called the hotel to report that you forgot a hairdryer when in fact there was nothing in the room. However, we appreciate your sincere feedback and will be channeled to the relevant departments to follow up." Okay, this is a 4.5. It makes no sense. The customer is saying that the workers are thieves, which is a serious claim for any brand. And the first thing this hotel is saying is that they're going to take it on board and perfect future experiences. They are then saying at the end that they will channel this to the relevant departments to follow up. But they're clearly saying in the middle part of the response that the thing was found, nothing was stolen, there was no hairdryer in the room. So this just doesn't make any sense. Okay, now let's move on to some Travel Velocity responses, or responses that were posted on Travel Velocity. The first one is to Charles, who commented on front desk staff and being given a hard time for not wearing a mask and was kicked out of the line while waiting to make a dinner reservation by a rude staff member. Management responded saying, "Thank you for sharing your kind review. We are really glad that you enjoyed your stay with us. Moreover, that you enjoyed our food quality of our restaurants, the attentive services that our staff offered you." Okay, already what's happening here is that he was kicked off the line, but he still went to the restaurant and he told somebody that he had a great stay. But he still wrote this review after that. "I am sorry that you perceive her services as rude. Currently, all over the world, we are facing a new COVID spread, and the reservation area is a very close environment where a lot of people gather. As you know, we have a policy at the hotel that in close areas and restaurants, it is necessary to wear a face mask, not only for our guests, for our staff as well." Okay, there's already a big problem here. During COVID, not one staff member should have had the burden of having to explain this whole mask story to anybody. It's just ridiculous. The hotel carries on to say, "Nevertheless, checking our cameras, it is shown that you were kindly asked to wear a mask and you said some unpleasant words and you left." On top of that, he said a few things that we also used to in the hospitality business when people are unhappy, probably a couple of F-bombs or something of the sort, and he left. And they're saying here, "At all times you were kindly and politely treated. We understand that waiting is not the best of the experiences. However, We are in high season. I am sorry if that was an inconvenience. We hope that you can visit us again to pamper you even more. Okay, so in a nutshell, he went to the restaurant. He had a good dining experience. He gave them good feedback. But when it came to the feedback online and the reviewing of the hotel, he was still bummed and he gave them a bad review. It's not a good review. It doesn't reflect what the final outcome is. And he's got the right to do that. It is better to acknowledge the good and the bad with any type of feedback, because then there's a balanced picture of what actually transpired for anybody looking from outside to see and make their own decision. To Alexi, who commented on there being no amenities for kids, bad food and disrespectful staff, and won't be back, management responded, "Thank you for sharing your valuable feedback with us. We are really glad that you had enjoyed the good quality of our restaurant and bartenders, as well as the good services that our hotels offered you." Okay, already this is in complete contrast with what the customer has said. This is not what Alexi said. She's saying she won't be back, and these people are saying she enjoyed the restaurant and the bartenders. Anyway, let's read on and see. "I'm sorry that you didn't enjoy our Chianti restaurant. Normally, we have wonderful comments about it. It is a family hotel. However, we do not have a kids club. You can verify the information on the web. I am sorry that you perceive that our staff weren't trained properly. As our report informs, you brought your babysitter. If you are not a guest, you must pay a day pass. At the moment, we do not have a day pass due to high occupancy, so you were offered the rate of an extra person. You informed that it was quite expensive, and we made an exception to give you the rate of the day pass. It was still not to your liking." Okay, so once again, what the review says is not what actually transpired. It talks about disrespectful staff, won't be back, no amenities, but there's a whole long story here. Alexi brought her nanny and they tried to say, "Hey, listen, we're busy. There's an extra charge." She complained about it and they gave her a discount and she was still not happy. They continue to tell Alexi that they have high season and unfortunately no one enters the hotel without paying. "I'm sorry this was an inconvenience. We hope you'll give us an opportunity to serve you again to offer you a better experience. Warm regards." Seems like quite a lot happened here that Alexi didn't mention that most likely led to her not being so happy and writing this negative review. You know, these things do happen. Hotels will be full. There would be a fee for certain things, and you might not be happy about it. And in this case, Alexi went to the hotel. They made an exception. They gave her the rate that was not available, and she was still not happy. Probably a 7 if I were to score it. I don't think they did anything necessarily wrong. It's just, to me, they could be a little bit more succinct. They can shorten the response. Because if you've noticed all of these reviews and the responses to these reviews, the one common theme is that things were dealt with at the hotel by somebody, a manager. Somebody dealt with the customer. So there's no need to rehash everything in such detail. I mean, Alexi's one is actually a classical example. It's very short of a review. Staff were rude, no amenities, bad food, disrespectful, boom, won't be back. And then the whole story here about being a guest, day passes, she didn't even mention that. They're now exposing that whole thing that didn't need to be in the limelight. So they just need to learn to keep it short. It's not a bad response as far as what they were addressing that transpired, but they just shot themselves in the foot by adding things that nobody knew about, nobody even complained about. Alexi didn't complain about day passes and so forth. I guess what they're trying to do is show that, hey, we know why you are really upset. It's because we didn't give you a free entry for your nanny that you brought, which was an extra person. I guess if that's the objective, they're achieving that objective. And they're trying to bring that across for anybody who's reviewing to say, hey, Alexi was happy. She said she enjoyed good quality restaurant and bartenders, the waiter service, the Chianti restaurant, and all the wonderful comments and so forth, which she's not mentioning, and we want you to know that. So if that's what their objective is, then they are achieving that, but it just needs to be a little bit shorter. You can do all the things that they want to do, which is to indicate that this person, when they left, were happy. They were happy with us. Now they're saying they won't be back. They're very unhappy. You need to just make it a little bit shorter, because you run the risk of exposing things that don't really need to be exposed. I personally believe that the whole day rate and the day pass thing didn't need to come across here, because now somebody is probably sitting and starting to think about that and that interaction. Like, oh, okay. So Alexi was there, had paid for a room, was with their kids, tried to get a nanny, and they tried to charge her. And then all of a sudden, the reviewer's mind is wandering, and they might find that, they're not, in favor of that approach to try and charge Alexi for a day room. So the trick is just to respond to the review as it is, and only the points that are put on the review. If you have to put something across that you want the reviewer to acknowledge, also do it in a one-line format. Don't have to detail all the things that actually transpired. The fact that the customer was so happy with 10 other things, you don't have to do that, in my view. To Dianko, who left a 1-star review due to the hotel having lots of stairs, and when his wife fell on the stairs and when he reported it, no one showed up. Not good at all. The hotel did, however, respond. Thank you for taking the time to share your valuable review. We hope that you were able to enjoy most of the good services that we have to offer. Not a bad start. Let's see how it goes. I am deeply sorry to read that your wife fell on the stairs close to your room on the first floor. Oh, we know where this is going. Signs that there's a whole report. They knew exactly what happened and they were waiting for the review. Indeed, you reported it. And in our records, our front agent offered you assistant and first aid assistant from our security department in order to check your wife's elbows and knees. However, you refused attention because you had dinner at a restaurant. I apologize for the inconvenience. Nevertheless, we hope that you can give us the opportunity to welcome you again in order to give you an even better experience and create better memories. Once again here, the same story. They're trying to communicate to the reviewer that this is what actually happened. I'll give it an 8. They're basically stating this is what happened and you refused assistance. It's not fair for Dianko to say 1 star because there's lots of stairs and the wife fell and they reported no one showed up if it's not true. I would hate to think that a hotel will go out in the public domain and make this up and say that they assisted. It sounds like the typical response that a hotel will give in an incident like this, which is to have somebody run up with first aid assistance, offer medical assistance. According to Dianko, they never did that. Let's go into some Booking.com reviews. They were all negative as well. And the first one is to Tracy, who commented on having issues with her room and there being invasive seaweed. Management responded, "Thank you for sharing your kind review. We are really glad to read that you had a good stay in general. Specifically, you had an enjoyable quality breakfast. I am sorry if you had issues with your room. We always recommend informing the front desk so they can assist you and give you a proper solution. Unfortunately, we do not have any information regarding these issues." Okay, so they're saying you didn't report it when you were at the hotel. It's a big surprise to us that you had these issues. Unfortunately, we cannot control the seaweed. We only can clean our beach area. However, due to the hot season, the seaweed appears. Your comments are really important to us because it helps us to improve our services. We hope that you can visit us again and we can offer you a better experience. The best way to offer a better experience is to probably sort out the seaweed in the room. I'm not too sure what the story is there. But in a nutshell, what the hotel is saying here is that this is a whole big surprise for them. They thought that Tracy had a scrumptious breakfast and she enjoyed quality services. So what would be advisable for Tracy to do is mention positive and the negative before you check out so the hotel knows. It's pointless to give one-sided view or a one-sided view because you're giving the hotel the wrong impression. They bank your positive review. They don't go digging. But did you not have a bad experience? No hotel is going to ask, oh, thank you. You had a fantastic stay. We are so glad. We are happy. Are you sure you didn't have anything negative? No hotel is going to do that. And I always question feedback like this. I understand it's uncomfortable to tell people about the negative. Nobody wants to be whining and complaining. Nobody likes that. It's uncomfortable, but as a paying customer, you deserve to be acknowledged for the things that didn't go the way they should have gone. So the responsibility is on you to mention it. The responsibility is also on the hotel to make sure that things go a certain way. But if you're a paying customer, tell them that you had seaweed in the room. They need to know. They need to do something about it. Don't tell them that you enjoyed quality services and good breakfast and smile at everybody and compliment everybody and then go onto booking.com and say there was seaweed in your room. This one from Tracy is not entirely negative because she's just mentioning a fact. They also acknowledging there was seaweed. So she didn't feel that she needed to highlight the good experiences that she mentioned at the hotel. Maybe they were not so great to speak about afterwards. The one thing that stuck with her is the seaweed. So that's something for the hotel to also ponder on. To Rico, who commented on the front desk staff being rude, having to ask them 5 times to fix the air conditioning in the room until they were finally moved to a new room. The hotel responded, "Thank you for sharing your valuable review. We are glad that you enjoyed your comfortable room and the view, as well as the attentive service that our staff offered you." Once again, contrast. He's saying not comfortable. AC didn't work. You moved me. They're most likely talking about the new room. But let's read on and see. As our system report shows, you were originally in a deluxe room. Our front agent sent several times maintenance agent regarding an issue with the thermostat of your room. Our technician were able to fix it, leaving the standard temperature of 21 degrees. However, it seems it was not cold enough for you. Our front agent gift you a free upgrade to a junior suite in order to give you a better solution. They are coming out guns blazing here. We sorted you out, buddy. What's your problem? Is what they're saying. I'm sorry if you received a lack of I am sorry if you perceived a lack on their service. We hope you can visit us again to pamper you again. But you know what? I can relate to all of these comments. I can relate to the feedback to all of these comments, even though there's some broken English from time to time. So what they're saying here is that there was an issue with the room. They acknowledge it. They fixed the thermostat. It went down to 21 degrees. I'm not too sure what country it is, but they seem to think 21 degrees is sufficient. So we'll take that. And it was not cold enough for the customer, which does happen. You know, these thermostats and these temperatures will only go up to a certain level. Depending on what region a customer comes from, sometimes a person will just find that it's not sufficient for them. It is what it is. So Rico still feels compelled to mention it on a review on booking.com for whatever reason. That's entirely up to him, but he was sorted out, in my view. The hotel made efforts to recover from the initial issue, and from my experience, it's sufficient. If he asked for something else, they probably would have been in a position to consider if it was appropriate or not, but it doesn't sound like he did. To Saif, who left a poor rating because he did not enjoy anything at the hotel and commented that the beach was bad and the manager was rude and had a horrible attitude. Management responded, "Thank you very much for sharing your valuable comment. I am very sorry that you did not enjoy your stay. Normally, we have excellent feedback regarding the beauty of our beach. During the warm season, the sea produces a lot of seaweed. We cleaned it every day. Nevertheless, we cannot control its growth." Okay, this is the same hotel struggling with seaweed. You booked a deluxe room for 2 adults and 1 child. However, you arrived at the hotel with 6 people. Oh, no. You don't do that, Saif. So Saif arrived with 6 people booked for 2 adults and 1 child. However, we supported you by checking to see if you have another reservation. Unfortunately, you had only booked that room. Our manager gave you a special rate for the deluxe room despite the high occupancy. Since you came with minors and for your convenience, you were given 2 free upgrades to a junior suite with ocean views for both rooms. Oh, quite a nice upgrade there. Nice offer. In order to keep the 2 rooms together, we did this, thus saving you $120 per room. I regret if you perceive this as bad attitude from our management. However, at all times you were treated with respect and given the best options from the goodwill of our management. Okay, I would have said that. Unfortunately, we cannot give the rooms for free. Of course, nothing is for free. Even less if it is not the hotel's responsibility. Oh, okay. These guys don't play. This seems like the same hotel and they want to set the record straight. They don't play around. So once again, same story, keeping it succinct, delving into way too much detail. It's a boxing match over here. It gives the reviewer an opportunity, though, to apply their minds. I must say that the only positive thing to this detailed kind of way of responding to reviews is that you have enough information to put the pieces together. But there's a lot of things that I would not say. You know, we always practice restraint is what a good friend of mine in the industry always tells me. We always practice restraint. I know that once it's there, it lives there. You need to give an indication of your side of the story, but it can be done in a much more succinct kind of way. And these guys, I don't think, are that good at it. To Lydia, who left a 1-star review in her review titled "Horrible Customer Service because they didn't give her a king suite and instead put her in a 3-bathroom, 2-bedroom suite. Thank you for taking the time to share with us your experience. We have taken all your feedback on board and this will be used constructively to perfect our future guest response." Okay, this is how they respond. Clearly, we know that our colleague, I won't mention the name, from reception offered you a room with a single bathroom, a king-size bed and a room for yourself. But unfortunately, you did not want to change your room. Our staff was attentive to all your needs and we regret that it was not enough. These are the reasons that you need to be careful when you look at reviews. You need to go through them because clearly there's always 2 sides to a story. This is the world we live in. These are the times that we are living in. Once it's on the web, it lives there. So I'm not too sure if I'm against the approach that these guys are taking, which is to go back and say, hey, listen, this is actually what happened or not. I would summarize a lot of their responses just to make sure that there is the salient points that I want to go out to the reviewer, that this was addressed. Okay, we dealt with you and you were happy before you left. We acknowledged there was an issue, but it was addressed. And there's a way to do that without going into all of this detail. So that was my attempt to do a reliability test of hotel reviews online. Feel free to comment and let me know how I did. But really, it was just an effort to give you a different perspective by weighing in and analyzing the feedback against the reviews. It's something that you can use from now on to apply your mind before you make a buying decision, hotel or restaurant, because you now know there's always clearly 2 different sides of the story. Just look at everything, look at the feedback, look at how the hotels are responding. Try to piece the 2 together before you make a decision. I hope you found this episode enjoyable, and as always, keep exploring, keep discovering, and keep embracing the world of hospitality. Cheers for now.